Good evening, class. You're welcome back to our course, Data Security and Privacy. Today, we'll be looking into privacy and data protection. We'll also try and discuss the Data Protection Act, and we'll listen to an interactive arguments and exposition into the act so that we can take notes of it. I know I gave you some assignment to be able to look into the act earlier. So when you are listening to this interactive engagement, please make notes. Maybe you can help shape your mind how different people see what the act is about. I'm talking about the Data Protection Act of Ghana. So without much ado, we will delve into the concept of privacy, balancing security with privacy, and then we delve into the data protection. Okay. The concept of privacy. I think the first time when we met, tried to explain to you that privacy focuses much more on protecting personally identifiable information that can identify you, protecting access to it, who has access to it, when the person has access, how the person has access to it. So it's kind of a right to control that information that's tend to describe you or tend to characterize you, and how that information is used or shared. So that is what the concept of privacy is about. So God, I defined it as it recognizes an individual's right to control, determine, restrict how, when, and with whom the data is shared and communicated. And some of these things are usually um, um, enforced by the law of the country. So in Ghana, we have a Data Protection Act, which kind of helps to enforce such activity. So we'll look at different types of data about us online, and then we'll discuss what kind of vulnerabilities that we have. And the first thing that reason why we need to do that is that it's your right to protect your own information and who has access to it. How you got, in fact, when you access something on the internet, they list a path. The destination you go and watch the video is also what you are consuming. That whole experience has to be protected. Then what method are we using to protect it? Even if you protect it and somebody wants the data should be made available, how do you anonymize it? When should the person have access to that data? How long should have the person have access to that data? And then where is the jurisdiction of the access? If I'm in Ghana and I'm browsing a site, can somebody in the US come back and come and say subpoena my data and he wants to look at what I was browsing? Not necessarily. So certain times, certain geographic jurisdictions have laws that protect us. Even in the US, between states, you can ask for certain information and then you don't be given access to it because you don't belong to that state. So privacy is something that quite a number of legislators take it very much serious because it kind of protects a person's identity. Out of privacy breaches, people have even been unalived. People have attacked them because they got to know their information where they were located. So the first one is digital crimes. Crimes usually come from when the crimes that you do, pieces of information or data that you leave behind when you go to visit websites. For example, you click, as soon as you click, you have left some data. That click of that article and how many minutes you even spend on reading that article. It's all minute pieces of data that because they are not being analyzed, they don't tend to tell a story. But when they put them together, they can tell a story. So after clicking, maybe you wanted to you went to Amazon website, you click a movie. After the movie, you went to click on a DVD player. And after a DVD player, you went to click on popcorn. Then after I came to click on let's say air conditioner, yeah, a fan or air conditioner. It's like you're preparing to go for a vacation or something like that, or go and relax somewhere. So you are trying to buy movie materials for you to go and have a picnic. Because what am I doing? I'm trying to simulate what is happening by understanding the things that you have clicked on and the sequence in which you clicked on them. So all this information may not be deliberate that you may have clicked on something. Some of them may even by chance when you click on them, but it gets stored. It gets captured by some type of that computer you are using. It stores it somehow. And then when you come back again, it's able to tell that you previously clicked on this. Mhm. These pieces of data may appear inconsequential and then when you analyze individually, but when amassed and scrutinized, they tend to reveal your pattern, what is going through your mind, preferences, behavior, and tells us insights about the user, which marketers can use to target products to you. So when see that the next time I come, they'll start giving me maybe camping materials because of the kind of way I was clicking earlier. They start suggesting other items to me because they have studied what I clicked on. Now, digital cards may show up in the browsing history, the digital trace you leave when you visit a website, your social media activities. Sometimes after you watch an article, you think it's gone because the way the social media it gets disappeared. But if you go, you can look at the history. You can even look at videos you have watched. So there's a way we are able to be able to track and be able to know what you have interacted with. The location services. Sometimes you drive to a place, you come back, and you don't think that people know that you went there. Your phone itself, even sometimes you don't have to put the location service of your car on. The phone itself can tell that by Google Maps that you were here and you have come back here. E-commerce, purchase history, the things you have items, things you have searched for, things you have added to carts, and how frequent you use your apps. Sometimes some of the phones now, iPhone does that. They can give you a summary of all the apps you have used in the week, how long you open them, how long you stayed on them, what you use on them. It can give you that detail. All these in their minute form as little pieces of data is what we call digital crumbs. Now, let's look at this case. Consider Alice a teenager who's grown up who's grown up with the technology. She actively posts on social media using various apps. She's also keenly aware of the digital crumbs she leaves behind. When an advertisement really matches her recent conversation, she wonders if her smartphone is listening to her. I wonder if anybody has even thought about that before. Sometimes we all get scared. Is our smartphones listening to us? This scenario escapulates the modern dilemma of enjoying digital conveniences while being wary of privacy infringement. So now he's asking herself that, am I safe? Am I alone? So in today's digital era, the boundary between convenience and privacy often blurs. Consider Alice's scenario. To what extent should users be willing to sacrifice their privacy for personalized experiences, and where they should draw the line? The question is, most of us want personalized experiences. You want the thing to suggest things to you so that things are easy for you, have a pleasant experience of using that particular service on the internet. But for you to do that, it also picks information about you, and it can pick as low as inconsequential as maybe even um what you choices you made in the morning, and then to choices you make in the evening. Things that you may not even think as important, but these are all of them. So far as a device is by you and recorded activity, is a some way of putting certain information about yourself there. So would you want the personalized experiences when you enter into a shop or when you are buying something, or you rather want to draw a line and say my information should be kept away? What do you think you would choose? Would you want that experience that everything is seamless for you, or you want to protect your privacy and you just what if you just have the basic is enough for you? Yes, can I get two people to give me their view? Do you want a pleasant experience, personalized experience? It tells you that you just and it can even add and suggest certain items to you so that you are happy about them and even give you a discount. Is that what you want? Or you just want to draw the line and say that enough is enough of how much data they are tracking about me? Yes, Agnes, go ahead.
I think for me, I would want to draw the line because it gives more information about you out. I don't know if maybe we've all noticed something about TikTok. I think sometimes based on the things we like, I would say that TikTok sometimes read our mind or it even reads the kind of mood we are at a point, and it keeps bringing up like videos pertaining to your mood at a point. I
It's
don't
not.
know if I'm
I don't think
the only person that has noticed.
it doesn't read your mind. It
Or
reads.
it maybe it reads our emotions at a point.
No, it doesn't do that. There's no way it's going to read your emotion. It reads what your emotion is telling you to do.
Because I've noticed that sometimes I don't know if it's based on the things the maybe a video pops up, you like it or you save it.
Good.
It brings more of those things
Yes.
to
So
you.
it is
And I
you
feel
who
it's
is
scary at a point
you are
because
the
if
driver.
somebody
You are the driver. You are the one clicking. You are the one making choices. So to suggest more of those things to you, it's just like what we looked at concerning Tesco Club card. The more you choose certain things, the more you get those things. So if you are seeing a particular line of conversation, it's either you have given yourself closer to it.
Okay.
Do you understand it?
Yes, I get you.
Okay, good. So understanding digital footprint, let's look at another question. Given the vast amount of data individuals like Alice unintentionally share, how can users better educate themselves about potential uses and misuses? Furthermore, what responsibility should companies have in making users aware of their data being used, especially when it comes to indirect data collection methods such as analyzing online behavior versus direct eavesdropping myths? Okay, so that what you were saying was an eavesdropping myth. But the question that comes up is that what do you think companies should do to better protect you? You can protect yourself, but what do you think Amazon should have done, or maybe um, Melcom should have done when you go to their page, so that you feel more protected? What do you think? Mm. I think I got you. I saw your hand up. So answer this question. Me, if you raise your hand, I will choose the question I'll give you. Mhm. So, Gosu, answer the question. If you cannot, then William Shushu.
I think they should keep him private, like anonymous. That's what I would think.
Okay. Anonymous. Okay. Thank you very much. William Shushu. But William, this is the first time I'm hearing of you. Where have you been?
Hey, no, please, no, it's William Matamafu. I think it's a mistake.
Mm.
Yes, William Mata. Uh, before
William,
anything, yes, William Matamafu. ETP, I'll quickly change that.
William Atta, yes,
Yes.
but William Atta, you didn't talk. You just
Hey,
commented small. You commented small. Everything shows on my dashboard. Mm. Okay. Thank you very much, William Atta. I think you and Agnes are the one who have done some interesting. Have Agnes there. She's a dupe. Mhm. Okay, let's continue. So William, I was asking a question. I think when you said something else, but I wanted to ask, I was asking a question, and boss, you didn't come back. That what do you think companies should do? Michael, go ahead.
Good evening, Prof. I
Okay,
think that companies have a responsibility to make users aware that these are some of the activities that they are conducting on their site so that they may choose as to whether to be part of it or not.
okay. So you think more information should be made available to consumers, empower the consumer with information. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, please.
It should be made aware.
Transparency. Yes, there should be transparency.
Okay, thank you very much. That's good. Um, let's continue. I think there's another. Okay, that's William. I think we did that one earlier.
okay, can I say something?
Rosemary, what's up?
Please, I wanted to ask a question.
Rosemary, you are bringing yourself again. These questions you like asking. Axel. We'll get William to answer. Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to ask, for instance, there's an app called Snapchat, and recently they introduced an AI version of everybody. And before when I went to check for settings, I realized that they had already ticked that I've given permission for them to use my image for the AI generation of pictures. And that was strange to me. So I was wondering ethically, is that accepted just because we signed up to use the app? And I thought it was in line with what we were talking about. That's why I wanted to ask.
It is in line. And it's also right. You give them access. You went to, he's sitting somewhere. Come to know that you want to join the platform. You didn't read the fine print. Every information you give him, you are giving him access to it. You are giving him access to your email for him to send information to you. You are creating a password. You are uploading your personal pictures. Rosemary at 2 years old, Rosemary at 20 years old, Rosemary at the beach, Rosemary at church, Rosemary at office, Rosemary getting down from a nice car, Rosemary going to the market. All these things, you give it to them. They use it to train their AI. Is it you or it is me? It's you. So, Rosemary, today you can put down your Snapchat. You won't lose anything. If you lose, what will you lose? Your street credibility. No, pull it down. Before they turn you into something else. I don't know whether you are married, but I don't want you on wedding day. Somebody will go and play who has something against the issue. My heart. They will put the AI version of you doing something that they say is you. One of these, one of somebody's rival will go and do that. Will go and take the AI version of the person and come and show it to the mother-in-law so that you can eliminate the person. Anyway, so we want to be very careful of what we give access to. Please you can't go and sue anybody. You are the one who are giving them access. I don't think most of you understand. Even in today, you are giving access to your house. You are listening to me, and my voice is coming to your home. Have you not given me access? You are giving me access. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's legitimate access is what you are giving to me. But if I have other legit, I don't have I'm not bounded by my ethical code of conduct for University of Ghana. I'm supposing some of you leave your cameras on, you're walking around in the house, and I record it. If I record such a thing, ethically, I have to try and see if I can delete it and or cut that part out because I may expose something the person didn't intend to do so because it wasn't intentional. But we are beginning to see that some of the students, I don't know whether they are naive or something. Saturday, then they leave the thing on the bed. Everybody walking around the house, you can see. And they sometimes they are even chatting when the lecturer is teaching. So you are not you certainly you have face to face. I'm talking about the general pattern that we see. Even undergrads are even worse. Hmm. They take it everywhere. The phone is everywhere. Everybody are going. So we end up leaving these digital crumbs everywhere. Usually, when somebody builds a unique trail of your data in such a scenario, we tend to lead towards what we call the digital footprint, a unique trail of data that people create when they interact with the internet across several devices. And we can break them into two. There's the active one, what you have just done intentionally, going to the content and you share online, like your Facebook, your emails you sent, your Facebook post, the likes you have been doing, the reviews you are giving, there's the active digital footprint. You are the one creating that particular footprint. Then there is the other one, which is quite subtle, the passive one, that you may not necessarily have given access to in terms of you want to look for it and say that, yes, I want to click on this. But because of your giving them access, the company access to, it's not just as what will happen to you, access to your details. They are online and they are trying to enhance your experience of using the Snapchat app. So what do? They leverage your data, they leverage your information, they use it. But now quite a number of the companies are getting class action suits coming from consumers who are able to come together and say that no, this is a breach of confidentiality or something like that. But I don't know where to go to in Ghana. Even right to the information bill, we are struggling to get information from people. How much more now go and sue them for? Let's say showing something you didn't want them to show. So it's something that we always tell students and be very careful what you do online. Be very very careful what you do. And some of you you let some people do your create use your account for, and services for whatever you want them to use, whether it's on Netflix or something like you share it, sharing is scary. Let me share my account. You don't know what the person may use that for and compromise the account. So in case there's an FBI or there's an online fraud investigation, you could be picked up. But maybe at the time that crime happened, you are not even using the phone. But you are the one who have got have access, give the other person access. So please let's just be careful. Mhm. So the passive data footprint, somebody can pick your laptop at the end of the week and take his time and study all the pages that you visited, and then use that one to write a report. Okay. I think Ransford, your hand has been up for some time. Let me take you before I go to Godfrey.
Yeah, sir, Prof, I wanted to make a contribution.
Okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes a little gratification we get from using certain apps, we tend to be careless. For instance, installing Snapchat, it will ask you, allow Snapchat to access your videos and your pictures. Then you say yes. Allow Snapchat to access your contact and stuff. You say yes. Allow Snapchat to view your location and stuff. Again, we say yes, just because we want to post pictures and videos and stuff. I think because of these things, we become careless and most of our information get out there.
This one there, you are attacking some people here. So let me ask this Snapchat user, what do you actually use it for? You big woman, um you are a master student in Legon. You is it for unwinding or catching up with, or I don't know. What do they use? I know what in general is, but what are you looking for there? Is Facebook not enough? Rosemary, can you share your experience for research purposes? So I beg. Mm. Oh, Gosu, do you use Snapchat? You don't use Snapchat. Don't come and you don't use Ransford, you don't use. Okay, Esther, you are the one who has joined. That's what Rosemary says she won't talk. Esther, do you use Snapchat?
Prof, yes, please, I do.
So what do you use it for?
So usually Snapchat is for, personally, I
No, no,
use
no.
it for,
What do you use it for? Yes, we know usually what it's used for. What do you
yes, so personally, I use it for taking pictures. They have like interesting filters that you can use to enhance your pictures. And then when you take these pictures, you can post for like those who follow you to see. And sometimes those who don't follow
So
you can still.
but you are beautiful. What do you want to enhance the picture for?
Oh, sometimes it's not about making the picture beautiful. They're like interesting filters. I don't know how to explain it, but
So if you don't use it for 2 days, what will
interesting
happen?
to the pictures.
So when they use it, you use it and then you push they come and like, then what do you feel? Your
Prof, you
name,
feel like a hero.
no, I didn't ask you a
Prof,
question. I'm talking
Prof,
to
this
you.
one there is an
I beg
attack.
you.
Oh.
Let me talk to you, Esther. I'm saying you said you won't talk. Rosemary, don't come and say something. Let me talk to Esther. Esther, you set purposes. What do you get? And for the men,
Nothing.
I don't even know why you even use Snapchat. So I don't even unless you're looking for something else. Let me talk to the ladies.
It's just like Facebook. You know, Facebook, you post your pictures, you have people liking, commenting, you get to
Post
meet.
your pictures on so you I will post your pictures on Facebook.
Oh, Prof, I don't remember the last time I went on Facebook.
Oh, so you have been
Actually,
right now you're a Snapchat girl or
oh,
lady or
more
queen.
Snapchat. I do more of TikTok. And it's for my business. I run a business. So I have a TikTok page and then I have an Instagram page.
So that's one day I understand. TikTok for business, we you turn the 3 CD. So yeah, content. That's what you have been. I think that's what you have. I'll go and look for you and see whether that's what you have been doing. The content. Okay. Um, maybe
So Snapchat, you also get to meet new people as well, like make new friends. So it's just like Facebook in a way.
the people in this classroom, have you finished meeting them? Then the people
Sorry,
in office, have you finished meeting them? The people on your way to your house, your neighbor, have you finished meeting them? So you want to meet more people? Is that your phone is not full of numbers already? Hey,
and it's a way for you to get in touch with people you already know that you've lost contact with.
and
So it's
all those type of people you find them on Snapchat, not on LinkedIn rather.
we're also on LinkedIn, so we are everywhere.
So after LinkedIn and all this, why Snapchat? That's the thing that you're not answering very well. So
You have to download and
you
get a
said
personal experience. You might not understand my experience, but maybe you have to like get a
Prof, it's
personal.
for validation.
that is
It's
what I
not.
said. That
Prof,
is what she has to agree. We said she takes pictures and then people come and like it, then she'll feel cool.
hello,
Okay.
Prof.
Anyway,
Prof.
thank you very much, Esther, for your this thing. The men, you don't have anything to say. We don't even understand why you are there. This is ladies. Why are you even there?
Prof, can I say something?
Say what? Are you
But-
married? Before you answer the question, are you married?
No, I'm not married.
And you are on Snapchat?
Yes. But you know, in these days,
You meet
people
anybody
actually
there,
prefer
so
taking your
leave
Snapchat
them.
than your contact.
Huh?
In these days, people actually prefer taking your Snapchat than your contacts.
Which people? The people who are you have been meeting, has anybody given you $1 million? Has anybody given you a business deal? Giving
Oh,
you
but I know Snapchat really sells more than the other this one. Like in terms of business, if you're running,
I asked you a question that what value have you gained financially from by being there?
oh, by selling your stuff there.
You sell
Like,
stuff there.
especially if you sell phones and those things.
You agree your boy, you sell stuff there.
Yeah, I sell chargers.
You sell
So
charger on
yeah,
Snapchat. You couldn't sell on TikTok. You couldn't sell on all the other platforms. You have to go and sell it on Snapchat. Oh, that's why.
I reached a higher this one. Like I reached a lot of people on Snapchat than other apps.
So more of the people who buy your chargers are on Snapchat.
Yes. Most of my customers are on. Like I'm saying, and these days I'm saying people prefer taking your Snapchat than your contact itself.
Don't say these
Your
days. We
phone
are
number.
talking about you. You are the one we are talking about. You want to raise your hand. Don't be these days. You have to understand why you are there. So you have answered your questions. We understand you are a businessman there. That's all you have been there. So you are there for business. Is that not true?
Yes.
So if another
For
one
connection with friends.
if another one comes, you move on. Is that not true?
Yes.
But Esther is also doing business, but Snapchat is not primarily for a business. It's for her putting her pictures there and you like and stuff. TikTok is for a business. Anyway, thank you very much for all your good information. It's good research data for me. Okay, so it means that people are there for different reasons and they get different types of gratification from there and entertainment from there. Any interest in me? Okay, so your digital footprint is significant for a number of reasons. One, personalization. Companies can use that one to offer specialized products to you that is tailored for you because of your choices. Online reputation too. People post and what others post about them can affect their personal and professional opportunities, relationships, and perception. So we are seeing Esther here. We are seeing Obri here. All of you are part of the personal and professional opportunity. Okay. So I was looking for data for my own slice. Then privacy concerns. A comprehensive data footprint can reveal a lot about an individual, including preferences, habits, and routines. So if we should take your details, if you have time, Aubrey, pick your I don't think you know what to do, but you can tell ChatGPT 5 to give it a link to your page or to one of your posts to study all the comments that were given that came for that post and then tell you insights you can make for your business from there and what people are looking for. That means that you are taking the business to the next level, especially if you have got a lot of comments, maybe 200 and above. You cannot go through all of them. But I want to segment the data out of it. ChatGPT can do that for you very easily. So you give it the link and then tell them that you should look at the data that's at the post, categorize them into what you should take action on, what you should know, or whatever you want to categorize them. And then the sources. Sometimes I cannot tell where the source is coming from in terms of who made that print and what time the person made that particular post and how fast the person made that post after or reply after you posted. So if you posted and after 100 people just after 2 minutes of your posting came to say something, what is interesting is that they are now telling you that, oh, these people are very active customers of yours and they are always waiting for your content. That means that you can easily push a product to them. So be good advice for you. I know you may know some of these things already, but I'm just trying to say that take it to the next level and start taking the insights into it. And I hope maybe next week I'll ask you whether you have done that and you can share with us. Okay, let's start do the same on your link, your TikTok. Try and do some analytics on it, and let's see what you find out and come and share with us. Unless you have been doing manual analytics yourself. Okay, so let's now move on to the next thing. Now, so digital footprint versus gram. The differences between most of these two is that one of them is quite granular and one is much more individual data point. That's the grams. But when you talk to your footprints, it's a trail. So sometimes I will argue that when you put grams together, you end up creating a footprint because grams together may end up pointing us to a particular pattern, and then we can use that pattern to understand the behavior of the person. Okay. So, for example, click on a specific product item, time spent viewing a particular item. All these things are all digital crumbs. But when we come to footprint, we are trying to look at what the data, both active and passive, can tell us, especially concerning a period of activities, not just one minute you just came there and then want to try and create your footprint. The footprint should be done over some time to be able to get a good picture of who the person is and what the person is into. Okay. But our advice is that most of you, if you have the possibility of clearing some of your trails, it will be very good. On clearing some of your trails is very good. Sometimes even Google Chrome, if you go to the cache, you can clear all the things that it has stored about you for that time. That means that you have to enter a lot of passwords again. But what are you trying to do? You want a fresh session and knowledge to be created about you out there. So encompasses both the intentional and then unintentional. That's the passive one. Traces that you leave about yourself. And people don't know. Currently, a number of institutions, when you're even looking for a job, they do an online search about with your name and some of your usernames. Sometimes companies now even ask for your handle on TikTok or your handle on other ones. And if you say you don't have it, that means that you have it. It means that you are telling a lie to them and can go against you. What are they looking for? They want to try and see what your social engagement is. For example, I'm a news station, and I realize that I go on your page and all that you have been doing is criticize our news, my news anchors, and you after you struggle, you want a job for my place. So some people have been disqualified from getting job opportunities because sometimes the digital footprint of their activities had not been in line with or consistent with the job that they are looking for. Especially if you're looking for a job from a multinational who is into things like peacekeeping and all those NGO, international NGO stuff, they will check on you. They want to know whether you speak, what kind of hate, if you engage in hate speech online. So please, some of you, when you're angry, you come and flatter. I feel like doing something. Then you write it. I don't know why this generation, everything they think about, they put it there. It is coming down tonight. Whatever happens, he will see. They don't leave. They don't tell us who will see you. So we will still now trying to understand. What is he saying? What is she saying? Who will see? And then there was somebody that is everything okay. I remember a few months ago, a friend was writing that it's all over. I am free. A year ago, I was under it, but today I'm free. So I actually WhatsApp the person and asked what is happening. Then he came to tell me about issues concerning, I think it was marriage and some plenty issues and stuff. But a year has come now, and I think he is now in a different country, and the woman is a different country, and he's. I think you can imagine what he's doing. He's telling the world that he's free and stuff. So somebody came to ask that we saw that the woman was pregnant. Is it yours? He said, I've been here in this country for 1 year. I don't know anything about it too. He also wrote it there. That's why I said, the way you are commenting, even though you have an issue with the lady and you are broken up, now you are actually indirectly passing on information about this lady on the internet. And if you're not very careful with the right lawyer, you can be sued. Because if people know you as a couple and you start putting certain comments there, it makes them start reading, and some of them are indirect slurs and kind of casting doubt upon the person. I'm not saying that what the guy is doing is right or wrong, but I'm just trying to say that sensitivity of how we do things online should be put into consideration, because in the right court of jurisdiction, in the right court, whether it's in Ghana or Germany or whichever country, somebody can actually call you out and may be able to successfully sue you. So please, if you want to vent, take a rubber bag and vent into the rubber bag and then tie it and throw it away. Then rather put it online. Please think about it before you go and vent everything online. Anyway, so the footprint represents a holistic online presence and then a history of the individual, which has implication on, just as I said, the personal reputation, privacy, and then security. Okay, so this is my view. Let me hear from experiences of people who have thought about what they did some time ago. Don't give us details, but maybe you wish you could delete some accounts. I know somebody was telling me that, Prof, the way you have talked about this thing, I really want to go and leave YouTube. And I was asking questions why. And he says, for reasons best known to himself. So I want to know whether you find yourself in a situation or you have any experience of somebody using your digital presence indirectly against your or using it to ask a question that you realize that the person has been chasing you. Hey, people are writing about broken heart in the chat room. Aubrey, is there anything happening? Are you okay? Or it's a comment you were making?
Oh,
Aubrey?
Prof, I'm okay. It's just the strategy they use.
Okay.
If you know, you know.
I don't know anything though. Please, I beg you. I'm not Snapchat person. I'm a researcher. I'm a researcher for Snapchat. Anyway.
So
Interesting.
this is general. This is general.
I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Thank you very much. Okay, so anybody, thanks for sharing indirectly what you have. Yeah,
Hello,
Pascal.
Prof.
Yeah, Pascal.
Yes, please. I don't have a very personal one, but I just wanted to clarify if we can equally see a digital footprint is kind of tells the story about a person or a sequence of events. Will that be okay, or will that suffice?
Oh, yes, but it depends on what type of story I tell him because which of the footprints are you looking at?
Oh, okay,
The
that's
tree.
fine.
Are you looking at it on the phone? Are you looking at it on the online platform?
Okay, okay, that's
I
fine.
know that people, when they go through emotional stuff, they want to consume all kinds of content on the internet um to
Calm
feel,
themselves.
yeah, to come not even the cancer, to fill it up and let it when I have you heard of the Backstreet song called Don't Get Me Back or something. That's one of their songs that's about I'm not going back or I'm not getting back to you. And I remember when we were in tech, anytime you hear somebody play it in his house room, you know that Charlie, this one they have been broken heart.
Mercy.
Then either that one or Westlife, one of the songs, baby.
Oh, true.
I know so that you know the song I'm talking about. So
Oh, probably don't do.
you don't okay. So you let's take a second. Let me look for the music for you.
Anyways,
Prof, this one, if you don't know, maybe you have a
Prof,
perfect experience yourself.
Okay,
I
I
think
think everybody has gone through broken heart
regards
before.
to
It's only the angels here who have gone through broken heart before. The ladies, they know who they are looking for. So if you go and you don't look for it,
Solidar. Okay,
Bro,
Esther.
someone has dropped
yes, one is
Solidar.
only that. Yes, only that is the hey Esther, Charlie, Esther, yeah,
His experience.
It's nice
His
experience.
experience.
Esther has been taking some people to the contest. So after that, they should send you the song. Please listen to this and forget about me. Is that what I've been doing? Okay, so I was talking about the one about Backstreet Boys. Okay, so let me see Backstreet. Some of you don't even know Backstreet Boys. Hmm. Aha, this song good. So I found the song. Those of you who didn't grow up with Backstreet Boys, so let me show you. The song is called Show Me the Meaning of Being Lonely.
Is VFly a genuine platform for YouTube growth? VFly boosts your channel with precision targeted Google ads, making sure your content reaches the right audience. So that means they give real views and genuine engagement without conflicting YouTube's algorithm.
So, okay. So where is I can't find my chats. I wanted to share the hold on. Come. So where's my chat? Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Good, I found it now. Oh, okay. Good. Uh-huh. So so this is it. So those of you who don't know, did I share? Let's see if I can share. Good, I shared. Okay.
Show me the meaning of being lonely. So many words for the with a broken heart. It's hard to see in a crimson love, so hard to breathe. Walk with me and maybe night till the light so soon become wild and free. I can feel the sun. Your every wish will be done. They tell me, show me the meaning of being lonely. Is this the feeling I need to walk with? Tell me why I can't be there where you are. There's something missing in my heart. Life goes on as it never ends. Eyes of stone observe the trends. They never say forever gaze. If only beauty rose to an endless love. There's no control. Are you with me now? Your every wish will be done. Tell me, show me the meaning of being lonely. Is this the feeling I need to walk? Tell me why I can't be there where you are. Been missing in my heart.
Okay, so at least those of you who didn't grow up with Backstreet Boys, now you know about them.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, don't worry. Me, I mean, I produce music, so I know a lot about music, so don't be surprised. Anyway, so what you are trying to point out is that sometimes the difficulty about the issues that we face is, do we want security or do we want privacy, or we want both? And combining and trying to achieve both is not easy. Sometimes even people who are in relationships, they want to know, should I put a password on the phone or I shouldn't put a password on the phone? Am I authorized to look at the person's contacts when the person's asleep? All these kind of things come up. But anyway, some people have got three phones. Each phone has a password. The password, you ask, if you try to open it to send it to the other one, then to send it to the other one. So you can never be able to get their phone and open it. Anyway, but some people too, they don't think it is anything wrong. They are very open and transparent around people and stuff. But I would advise that at least have some protection, because sometimes not for your partner or anything, but for your own sake, you can leave your phone in the bus. You can leave your phone even at work, and your colleague can look at maybe something, your salary, or look at something that is personal to you, and then use it against you when maybe some competitive thing comes in the office. So for your own protection, just be wise on that. If you are home and you don't want to, you want to share it with your partner, I don't have a problem. But for your protection in sometimes in the office environment and stuff, you want to try and make sure that you have and even in social events, you want, sometimes people go to church, somebody steals your phone and he wants to unlock it. He puts some kind of layered security on it so that it makes it difficult for the person to just sell it. If you can't do much with it. It becomes a brick and can't do anything with it. He tries to format, you try to use it. You can even wipe the whole thing clean and if they report it. So whenever they try to use it, it will be found, or it will come online, and then they can locate it. So what we tend to face is that we have to strike a balance between data security and the respecting user privacy. But look at the situation: consumers who want services. So some of the services ask for location data. In terms of data collection, they ask for location data, and then you say yes, because you get localized services, like promotions that are specific to that particular environment that you are in. You show up at Kumasi, you want to know whether there's some promotions going on at a place, and then maybe if you're connected to a service, it's able to tell you what is going on. Even it happens in other countries too. So if this is going to happen, that means that you have to sacrifice your privacy so that we can know where you are. And as soon as one app knows where you are, it can tell the other apps. That's the difficulty about the situation, because some of the other apps talk to each other. So one app knows, especially the Google apps. One of the Google apps knows something. All the Google apps knows it. No. Retaining data can help companies understand long-term trends and behaviors, but prolonged storage also increases. If the information is there, they have kept it for a long time, and now you don't use that service anymore, they should let you go. If they don't let you go and you keep your information is still there, sometimes maybe the security protocols have become loose and somebody may hack and just pick your information. So the fact that you are taking your information, it also has to be is good, but it also has to be done within a particular timeline. That maybe if I'm not using the app anymore, if about 6 months I'm not logged into the app, my data should be quarantined or should be archived so that nobody can have access to it, and maybe encrypted in a way that nobody can have access to it. Then data sharing between department, third-party vendors can optimize processes and get you, like, especially with payment gateways. You want to buy something online, they said, oh, use your Google Pay, use your PayPal, or pay directly by card. As much as possible, where you can pay using any of those any other third-party applications like Google Pay, PayPal, or Alipay, it is better than rather carry your own details and putting the card details there. Because when you are using that layer of PayPal and all those things, it's very difficult for the person to go straight and be able to pick your data. What the PayPal do is to process the transaction and give the money to the person. But when you put your card, the person now has your card and your information, and depending on how you set up his platform, and everything can be accessible to the person. So sometimes you may not know why, after shopping, doing some things buying some things online for some time, all of a sudden your card looks is compromised, because some of the sites you actually use your card on, the site is not safe. It's nowhere safe for you to be able to. It's not always safe for you to be able to use your card on it. So I'm just warning you, those of you don't know. And all of you, some of you too, you like paying for a lot of things. Oh, let me buy it. Oh, I'll get. There's this new feature that's in the app. Let me add it. Let me do this. Then you keep on putting your card. That same card is what you are connected to your bank, your salaried account. That same card is what you are using to pay your children's school fees. That same card is what you are using to do things on Shein to buy your clothes and stuff. Oh, one person. What you are doing is that you are making the card become very vulnerable to attack, because if they get it, they will wipe everything, including everything in your account. So this is my advice: have one account in which you have a card, or maybe a gift card attached to it, or a visa gift card, or card attached to it, or a travel card attached to it. That you can use a travel card. If you want to use your main card, then maybe have different debit cards. One attached to an account that you just deposit money into for a transaction. After that, the account goes to maybe 2 cedis or 3 cedis. So if they try to do anything and it's compromised, you won't get anything from it. But you have attached the card to the one in which there's 5,000 Ghana. This 5,000 Ghana, that's the same thing you are paying school fees from. That's the same thing you are using some to do shakara in some places. That's the same thing you are also using to visit mommy and giving some Milo and things. That's the same thing that you use to take your lorry, your transportation, and your fuel. This fuel to the nowadays is not easy to buy. You are doing all these things with that same card. Kwame, please, I beg you. Nanisi, I beg you. Think twice about that. This one that is my own personal appeal to you. The card doesn't want to be vulnerable. Go, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. If you are not doing that, then thank you very much. But if you are doing that, some of you, I know you may be doing. If I say raise your hand, you raise your hand. But you are doing something like that. So please, I plead with you that don't do that. Try to have the card that you attach your salary different from the card. Even if I were you, could put my salary that can no card on it, so that it can control me a little bit. If I want to use, I move the money from the salary account to other accounts and I can use it. So please, this is a word to the wise women and men who are here. Okay. Hey, Dr. Agozi, are you here? Okay.
Yes, Prof, I'm here. I'm listening.
Oh, Ale, if I'm not teaching well, come and help you.
Oh, bro, how? I'm so enjoying the lesson.
Okay. So let's take a case study.
In Australia, a smart bin is being touted as the solution for all waste management and recovery issues that the country faces. The AI-powered smart bin is equipped to segregate recyclables all by itself. However, experts claiming that a smart bin like this may also help increase waste recovery rates in the country and help produce better quality recycled materials. That in turn will add significantly to Australia's GDP. Our next report telling you more.
Waste recovery and management isn't as straightforward as it may seem. For some, it's a confusing process, segregating trash in various categories as per the labels and the materials. Then there are those who just cannot be bothered. It all just ends up in the landfill anyway, right? Wrong. Waste recovery and management is serious business. And apart from the obvious positive impact on the environment, it is also an important cog in the wheel of a circular economy. A Sydney-based team has now introduced the prototype of a smart bin that can eliminate the stress of sorting through trash completely. This AI-powered smart bin can sort through the recyclables all by itself.
This machine, it can classify different wastes, including the glasses, metal cans, and plastics. And for the amazing part, it can recognize different types of plastics, including the PET and the HDPE. And after the classification, this machine can sort the different wastes into different bins.
It's more than just a trash can. It has been touted as a machine that may also help encourage better waste disposal practices. It can result in higher quality recycled materials. In Australia, close to 40 million tons of waste is recycled each year. But with this invention, Australia's waste recovery rate could increase by 5%, which in turn can add significantly to its annual GDP.
The smart bin is so clever because it uses artificial intelligence, machine vision and robotics to help figure out what you're actually throwing into it, whether it's glass or plastic or aluminium can. But it also has social science connected through the cloud to give you feedback to help you change your behaviour so more waste goes into recycling and less goes into landfill.
As per the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organisation, only 10% of the 800,000 tonnes of plastic waste every year is actually recycled because they're not properly sorted. Even though there are still some kinks to be ironed out, very soon smart bins may become commonplace in Australia. Bureau Report WION, World is One.
In Australia.
Anyway, before we comment on it, I'm a little bit confused about the invention. If I'm going to put it 111 inside like that, I hope this is a prototype. In future, it's not like that. If I'm putting 11, then I better put it straight into the right box. Oh, guys, don't you see it? It's the way the was working. And he said it's going to reduce labor. Then my hand will go up and down 111 like this. It's reducing labor. Anyway, maybe the labor on the other side, maybe after, if I just pour it into the bin and just go into it. But my issue is more about the sorting. Because the way I carry it and put it inside there to decide where to go to, I think for someone that I can see myself, this one should go here, this one should go here, this one should go here. Anyway, maybe because it's at the nascent stages, in future it will carry the bin, sort it, shake it a little bit, and as they are coming one, then it will sort out very fast. Maybe. Anyway, please, what do you think about it? What do you think about it? Yeah. Yes.
Prof, I think this will work very well for the malls and then other places where we go to shop and buy and eat. But for home where we normally gather everything together and dump it, it might be a bit difficult. Those are my initial thoughts. Thank you. Please, did I come true? Hello, Prof.
Sorry.
Yeah, Pascal, we heard you. We heard you.
Yeah, we heard you. Okay. But thanks for your feedback. Does anybody have a counter view or another perspective? Yes. Does anybody have another view? Or... Hello?
Prof,
Yes, we go ahead.
for me, I think I agree with Pascal because in some places, the beans are segregated in a manner that plastics go into one bin, papers into one bin, and what have you. So it's not for home uh, consumption, but for you the streets consumption where beans are not its own segmentation.
Okay, I understand. Yes, that was a brief. William.
Okay, so I'm taking it from the point of house waste. If this feature is going to work at home, I think that the 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 potential privacy
The potential what?
the amount of money someone has. I'm saying that the potential privacy issue that may arise is that through the way someone has at home, you can know the amount of wealth the person has because the things that rich people dispose of will not be the same as what poor people. That's what comes into my mind this time.
Oh, okay. Your voice was not very clear, but we thank you for your contribution. Okay, so we are now going to move to data protection. Hannah, do you have anything to add? I saw your hand up.
Yes, sir. So I think the invention is good, but for in terms of automation to help livelihood, I'll mark this a 2/10 because first of all, it's time consuming. Like you said, there's a delay, so possibility of piling up rubbish behind is going to happen, which is also going to cause some effect to the environment. I don't know if they are going to still put a manual process of somebody picking them up one after the other to put them in as the way the thing flows. So it's a good invention though, but innovation wise, it's not going to help the environment that much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so our next thing is to Michael. Let's move on because of time. Our next thing is to now look at data protection. I'll just give an overview of it. Now, because we want to protect people's privacy and also protect established standards of security, countries tend to set up rules governing the use of data, and then the collection, the processing, the storage, and the sharing of personal data. No, and even sometimes corporate data and national data. So that's where data protection comes in, especially for citizens. It is because of our privacy concerns that we have mentioned earlier. Now, we want to protect the individual rights. We also want to make sure that people have got trust in the system to trade online and to also be able to engage in all digital related services that thrive on data or the exchange of data. If we don't know that there is any policy guiding us or governing that process and transactions, we will often be confused and think that there's no way we can get any kind of help or redress if there's a problem. There's standardization of what's the name? Standardization of business practices. As I mentioned, and we also want to make sure that whatever we are doing in an appropriate manner so that businesses can be able to know what is expected of them. We can hold them accountable. And then there is not ambiguity of what they were supposed to do. So every person who is holding a business or running a business that uses people's data or third parties' data, there is something that we will hold you responsible for. How are you managing that data? What are you using that data for? How are you actually giving access to other people concerning that data? What protections are you putting on for that data? So these things come up. Okay. Now, when we have any breach of data, as we mentioned last week, it also leads to financial losses. So we want to try and avoid that. Lastly, when you are going to do some international trade, if you don't have certain data policies established, they will not even allow you. I hear Ghana recently we did some changes on our Money Laundering Act so that we will be able to determine we don't need evidence of a crime being committed before we can start investigating or trying to do any kind of inquiry. I think the law was explaining to us actually that the law used to have a caveat that you have to have some level of um, um, evidence of a crime being committed before you could actually either prosecute or engage in that level of engage in some type of investigation. But I think now the law has been modified, and that they don't need to be a crime to committed. If there's any type of suspicion or report, investigation can go on as much as possible. They were using it to discuss, I think, Siadapa and other people over the weekend, and it was a very interesting discussion. Anyway, but process of crime have become an issue. You are the other end in Ghana. You don't know about the crime, but the crime, what the money has purchased for you, and you are using, is what now becomes a contention that either you are part of the criminal gang or you are actually benefiting from a criminal activity. So it means that either we stop you from benefiting from that criminal activity, or you come clean and then also tell us what your role was and what your role was not. Seems very quite interesting. International trade and data, financial data now matters a lot. Okay. Then the researchers also have to share data. Sometimes even people who trade on, we are able to compete countries against another country based on data. US and US, Russia and China. Much of their fights are virtual because of data. Either data in the exchange in terms of money, or in terms of value and power and respect, or in terms of volume of trade, whatever it is, data is what is playing the key role. So when we have a policy that's a national policy, it helps us to establish principles for accountability, the rights, procedures, and the rights framework for accountability. And then to also uphold the democratic values of people who are citizens so that they are protected. Okay. So there are quite a number of them. In Ghana, we have got the Data Protection Act. In the UK, we have got in the Europe, we have got data protection GDPR regulation. And then in the US, we have got um, sector-based protection mechanism and then state-based. For example, California has its own Consumer Privacy Act. And then there's HIPAA, the one that looks after the health sector of the US. So they are sector based and then there are state based. When you get to data governance, I will be showing you teaching you this into detail. But for the purpose of this class, I'll just do an introduction to uh, the National Data Protection Policy. Okay. So I don't, because of time, I don't want to use my mouth to talk about it. I have this recording here about a very good discussion. That's about 40 minutes on Ghana's own. So we are going to actually listen to it, and then I will also go through the document as we are listening to it, so that we can actually learn from it. My students have learned a lot from those discussions. Me, I myself didn't even know what was in the policy until I listened. I read the policy, but I didn't understand it that much until I listened to the analysis of the policy. It's a very voluminous document. Those of you who saw it the first time, I think some of you were even after looking about 2 pages, said this document, please, please. Prof wants to disturb, but this plain documents, he wants us to pages, he wants us to read everything. So you don't need to read everything. Give me a second. Okay, good. I have it here. Data Protection Act. Good, 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 good. So I'm going to share the act first. This is the act. We are going to use that one. And then here we go.
Welcome back to another deep dive. We're shifting gears slightly today, but staying firmly grounded in the absolutely essential world of data governance.
That's right. And for this one, think of it more like, well, data governance unplugged.
Exactly. And a very special welcome today to the business analytics graduate students joining us from the University of Ghana Business School. Professor Richard Boateng convened this session, so it's truly great to have you with us.
Yeah, welcome everyone. We're tackling a really crucial topic today, something that's going to directly impact your careers right here in Ghana.
Definitely. For those who were with us last time, you'll remember we explored data governance frameworks.
Right. We looked at Apex Health as a case study, seeing how organizations structure their approach to managing data internally, the policies, the roles, the procedures.
And today, our mission, and this was a specific request from Professor Richard to support your studies, is to take a really deep dive into the foundational legal landscape for data handling right here in Ghana.
We're talking about the Data Protection Act, 2012. You'll often see it referred to as Act 843.
We've got the Act itself right here as our primary source for this deep dive.
And it really is a fascinating document, quite detailed, meticulously laying out the rules of the road for processing personal information in the country.
You should think of this whole exercise as getting a detailed, really authoritative map of the legal territory. You need this before you even think about building data systems, running complex analytics, or, deploying AI models that use personal data.
Absolutely. Understanding this act inside and out, it's vital for anyone working with data in Ghana, especially you folks in business analytics. You're constantly dealing with sensitive stuff, customer data, employee info, operational details.
And it's not just about avoiding fines or legal trouble, though that's important too. It's really the essential blueprint for ethical, responsible, and frankly, sustainable data practices.
Couldn't agree more. So let's get into it. Let's unpack this important piece of legislation and really understand its core components, maybe starting with the basic structure it sets up.
Good idea. Let's start at the very beginning. What is the Data Protection Act, 2012? And how does it relate to the Data Protection Commission? Sometimes people mix these up.
Yeah, that's a really crucial distinction to make right up front. So the Act 843, which Parliament passed and got assent back in 2012, is the law itself. It's the legislation.
Okay, the rule book.
Exactly. And its purpose is stated clearly right there in the preamble. It's established to, 1, create a data protection commission, 2, protect the privacy of individuals and their personal data by regulating how it's processed, and 3, provide the detailed process for how personal info should be obtained, held, used, or disclosed.
Right, so the Act is the legislative instrument, the rule book outlining the what and the why of data protection requirements. So then the Data Protection Commission.
The commission is the body. It's the institution that the Act itself establishes to implement and enforce that law. If you look at Section 1, subsection 1, it explicitly says there is established by this Act a Data Protection Commission.
Oh, okay.
So this commission is the operational arm. It's responsible for making the Act work in practice, for monitoring compliance, overseeing its provisions across the country.
Got it. So Act, its rules, commission, enforcer, and overseer. That makes sense. What does the commission actually do then to achieve its purpose? What are its functions?
Well, Section 2 outlines the Commission's core object, which, like you said, mirrors the Act's purpose: protect privacy and personal data by regulating processing, and provide the process for data handling.
Okay.
To achieve that, Section 3 lists its specific functions. First, they have to implement and monitor compliance with the Act's provisions. So they're actively watching, checking if data controllers are following the rules, maybe receiving notifications, conducting audits, that sort of thing.
And they also make the necessary administrative arrangements for their own duties, like setting up their internal workings.
Absolutely. That's in Section 3B. And critically, Section 3C says they must investigate any complaint under the Act and determine it in a manner they consider fair.
So if I, as an individual, think a company has misused my data, I can complain to the commission.
Exactly. You lodge a formal complaint, and the commission has the power to investigate and make a determination. And finally, Section 3D gives them the vital function to keep and maintain the Data Protection Register.
The register. We'll definitely come back to that. Sounds important.
It is very important public record.
So how is this commission actually run? day-to-day, who's in charge, and how is it governed overall?
Right. The administration sections, mainly sections 11 through 13, lay this out. There's an executive director appointed by the president following Article 195 of the Constitution. This person is key operationally. They're responsible for the day-to-day admin of the commission. They answer to the board, and they implement the board's decision.
And there are requirements for this role.
Yes. Section 11.3 specifies they need to be of high moral character, integrity, and have relevant qualifications and experience. It's a significant leadership position.
And can they delegate tasks? I mean, they must need help.
Yes, they can delegate functions. Section 12.3 allows that. But importantly, it also says they retain the ultimate responsibility. Accountability stays with the leader.
Makes sense.
And the commission appoints other necessary staff too, Section 13.1. They can also get public officers transferred or seconded from other government bodies, Section 13.2.
So they can bring in people from elsewhere in government.
Exactly. And they can engage advisors and consultants if the board recommends it, Section 13.3, to get specialized expertise when needed.
Okay, so the executive director runs the day-to-day operations.
Yeah.
But you mentioned a board. They provide the strategic direction and oversight.
Precisely. Section 4 establishes the board as the governing body. And its structure is quite interesting. It's appointed by the president, Section 4.2, and it's designed to have really broad representation.
From where?
From key institutions involved in data, communications, human rights. Think National Communications Authority, NCA, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, CHRAJ, Ministry of Communications, NIDA, Bank of Ghana, Statistical Service.
Wow, that's a lot of different perspectives.
It is. Plus, there's a representative elected by the industry forum, 2 presidential nominees, at least one must be a woman, and the executive director is also on the board.
That broad representation really suggests they wanted diverse viewpoints, right? Technical, human rights, government, industry, all feeding into data protection policy.
That seems to be the intent. And the board's main job, Section 4.3, is ensuring the proper and effective performance of the commission's functions.
And they have rules for how they operate. Meetings, conflicts of interest?
Yes, the Act details that. There are tenure limits for appointed members in Section 5. They have to meet at least quarterly according to Section 6. Section 7 covers disclosure of interests, very important for integrity. And Section 8 allows them to set up committees for specific tasks.
Like maybe technical reviews or handling complaints?
Could be. And Section 9 says members get allowances approved by the minister responsible for finance.
Okay, and there's a connection to the government ministry.
Yes. Section 10 allows the minister responsible for communications to give policy directives to the board. So while the commission aims for operational independence, there's a link for broader policy direction, connecting it to national strategies.
Right, an important balance to strike. Now, the practical question, where does the money come from? To pay staff, run investigations, maintain that register?
Good question. Section 14 details the funds of the commission. It includes monies approved by Parliament, so public budget allocation.
Okay.
Donations and grants for its activities, maybe from development partners or others supporting data protection. Monies that accrue from its own functions, presumably things like registration fees.
So they can generate some income.
Potentially. And any other monies approved by the Minister for Finance. So it's a mix.
And they have to account for this money.
Absolutely. Financial accountability is crucial. Section 15 requires the board to keep proper accounts, and they get audited annually by the Auditor General.
And report back.
Yes. Section 16 mandates annual reports covering everything they did, including the Auditor General's findings. These go first to the minister, then to Parliament. Ensures transparency and oversight.
Okay, so summing up this first part, the Act is the law, the Commission is the body making it happen. It's got an executive director for operations, overseen by a diverse board, funded publicly and maybe through fees, with clear accountability through audits and reports. That really sets the stage for how the law is put into action.
Exactly. It's a whole institutional and legal engine behind data protection in Ghana.
Right. Now let's get into the real substance, the heart of what the Act actually requires when you're handling personal data. You mentioned it's built on principles.
Yes, fundamental data protection principles. Section 17 lists 8 of them that anyone processing data must take into account to ensure individual privacy.
And processing is basically anything you do with data.
Pretty much. The definition in Section 96 is really broad. It covers collection, recording, organizing, storing, adapting, altering, retrieving, consulting, using, disclosing, sharing, combining, blocking, erasing, destroying. Whether automated or not, if you touch personal data, you're likely processing it.
Wow. Okay. So these 8 principles guide all of that. What are they?
Accountability, lawfulness of processing, specification of purpose, compatibility of further processing with the original purpose, quality of information, openness or transparency, data security safeguards, and data subject participation.
That's quite a list. For our audience, the business analytics students, some of these probably hit closer to home in your day-to-day work, right? Building models, managing data pipelines.
Definitely. Let's focus on a few key ones that are super relevant for BA. Privacy and lawfulness, minimality, consent, along with justification and objection collection rules, and data retention.
Sounds good. Let's start with privacy and lawfulness, Section 17B and Section 18.
This is the absolute bedrock. Section 18.1 says any processing of personal data must be lawful and reasonable. And crucially, it must not infringe on the data subject's privacy rights.
So for any data you touch, collect, analyze, use in a model, you have to ask, is there a valid legal reason for processing this specific data? And are we handling it reasonably, respecting the person's privacy?
Exactly. For you as BA students, it means understanding the legal justification before you start your analysis. You can't just assume that because you have access to data, it's fair game to use it however you want.
Does this apply even if the data came from outside Ghana?
Yes. Section 18.2 specifically mentions that personal data from foreign jurisdictions sent here for processing must also comply with the data protection laws of that foreign place. So it's quite broad.
So ensuring your data sources and processing activities are legally sound, not just technically possible, is step 1. Check user agreements, internal policies based on the Act, get legal advice if needed.
Precisely. It has to be grounded in a valid legal basis, consent, contract necessity, legal obligation, legitimate interest, whatever the Act allows.
Okay, next principle, minimality, Section 19. This sounds very relevant to analytics.
It really is. It's all about data efficiency and necessity. The principle states that personal data should only be processed if it is necessary, relevant, and not excessive for the specific purpose you're processing it for.
Not excessive. That's huge. It means you shouldn't just grab every bit of data you can find, right? No data hoarding.
Exactly. You shouldn't collect, store, or use more data points or more detailed data than you absolutely need to achieve your stated goal.
So if you're building, say, a customer churn prediction model,
you only collect and use the data points actually necessary for that prediction, not every single piece of information you might have access to about the customer.
For the BA students listening, this means you need to critically evaluate every data point, every feature you consider for a model, every data set you request. Ask yourself, do I really need this specific demographic detail, or can I achieve my analytical goal with less personal information, or maybe even aggregated data?
And adhering to minimality isn't just about compliance. It significantly reduces privacy risks. Less data means less potential impact from a breach. It often improves data quality, too, by focusing on what's truly relevant.
Makes sense. Okay, moving on to consent, justification, and objection. Section 20. This is one people probably see most often, consent pop-ups on websites, right?
Often, yes. Generally, Section 21 requires you to get prior consent from the data subject before processing their personal data. And that consent needs to be freely given, specific, informed, unambiguous. The definition in Section 96 implies these qualities.
Well, it's not always needed. There are exceptions.
Yes. Important exceptions where processing is allowed without explicit consent, like when processing is necessary to perform a contract the person agreed to, or if it's authorized or required by law, think regulatory reporting.
Okay.
Or if it protects a legitimate interest of the data subject, maybe in a medical emergency where they can't consent, or if it's necessary for a public body performing a statutory duty.
What about the company's own interest?
That's another key exception. If processing is necessary to pursue the legitimate interest of the data controller or a third party, but, and this is crucial, that interest can be overridden by the individual's fundamental rights and freedoms, and the data subject can object.
Ah, that legitimate interest one sounds tricky, with the balancing test and the right to object. That right to object seems powerful.
It is. Section 22 gives the data subject the right to object to processing unless the law specifically says otherwise. And Section 23 is clear. If someone objects on reasonable grounds, the processing must stop.
So individuals have significant control, even if a company claims legitimate interest.
Exactly. For businesses, this means you need not only a valid legal basis like consent or legitimate interest before processing, but also a clear, easy way for people to object. And your systems have to be able to actually stop the processing when they do.
Right. Now, how about getting the data in the first place? Collection, sections 21, 22, 23.
The default rule, Section 21.1, is direct collection. You should collect personal data directly from the person it's about.
That makes sense for transparency. They know they're giving you their data, but sometimes that's not possible.
Right. Section 21.2 allows indirect collection, getting data from somewhere else in several specific situations. If the data is already in a public record, like business registration details, or if the person deliberately made it public themselves, maybe on a public social media profile, or if they consented to indirect collection, or if getting it indirectly isn't likely to harm their legitimate interests.
What about official reasons?
Yes, indirect collection is also allowed if it's necessary for specific public interest purposes, crime prevention, tax collection, legal proceedings, national security, things like that. Or if direct collection would undermine a lawful purpose, like an investigation, or is just not reasonably practical.
So direct is preferred, but there are clear exceptions.
Exactly. But Section 22 adds another layer. Whenever you collect data, directly or indirectly, it must be for a purpose that is specific, explicitly defined, lawful, and directly related to your functions or activities as the data controller.
No vague data fishing allowed. You need a clear reason up front.
Precisely. And Section 23 reinforces transparency. The data controller has to take steps to ensure the data subject is aware of the purpose of collection. Ideally, when the data is collected, people need to know why you need their data. This is often done through a privacy notice.
Okay, purpose specification and transparency at collection. Now, what about keeping the data? Retention of records, Section 24, how long can you hold on to it?
This is vital for data lifecycle management and huge for analytics. The general rule in Section 24.1 is simple. You shouldn't keep personal data longer than is necessary to achieve the purpose for which you collected and processed it.
So, no keeping data forever just in case. This prevents that data swamp problem and reduces risk. Once the purpose is done, the data should ideally go.
That's the principle. But again, there are exceptions allowing longer retention. If it's required or authorized by law, think financial regulations needing records for 7 years or medical record laws.
Okay, legal requirements override the general rule.
Right. Or if it's reasonably necessary for a lawful function or activity, maybe managing ongoing customer relationships or handling potential legal disputes, or if required by a contract, or if the data subject consents to longer retention.
What about keeping data for research or statistics? That often needs long-term data.
Section 24.2 addresses that. The general rule doesn't apply to records kept only for historical, statistical, or research purposes. But Section 24.3 adds a condition. The data must be adequately protected against unauthorized access or use. So long-term retention for research is possible, but security is non-negotiable.
And there's a specific rule if you use the data to make a decision about someone.
Yes, Section 24. If you made a decision about someone based on their personal data, like a loan application outcome, you have to keep that record long enough for them to request access and potentially challenge the decision, either for a period set by law or a code of conduct, or just sufficient period if none is set. This links retention directly to their right of access.
And when the time is finally up, the purpose is fulfilled, the legal requirement expires, what happens then?
Section 24.5 is clear. The data controller must destroy, delete, or de-identify the record. And Section 24.6 adds that this destruction or de-identification must be done in a way that prevents the data from being reconstructed in an intelligible form.
So proper disposal is mandatory. No just leaving old data lying around.
Exactly. It's crucial for managing risk and respecting the end of the data life cycle.
Okay, these principles, lawfulness, minimality, consent, collection rules, retention, they really form the core. Let's try to make this even more concrete. How might these apply in different sectors here in Ghana? Let's do those mini case studies.
Great idea. Let's start with mobile network operators, MNOs. They handle massive amounts of call records, location data, usage patterns.
Right. For them, lawfulness, Section 18, and specific purpose, Section 22, are absolutely paramount. They need a clear legal basis for processing all that data, probably linked to providing the communication service itself, billing, managing the network, or maybe meeting legal obligations like lawful interception requests.
And minimality, Section 19, is huge for MNOs. They should only collect and retain the data that's essential for those specific purposes, not engaging in indiscriminate tracking or collecting more than needed.
What about using data for, say, targeted marketing offers?
That would almost certainly require specific informed consent under Section 20. And Section 40 specifically demands prior written consent for direct marketing. Their retention periods, Section 24, for call data records have to comply with telecom regulations and the Act's no longer than necessary rule.
Okay, MNOs. How about government agencies? Collecting data for national IDs, taxes, services.
For them, collecting directly from the data subject, Section 21, should be the norm or practical. The purpose, Section 22, must be specific and lawful, tied directly to their statutory functions. Section 21 allows processing necessary for statutory duties. Data for an ID card is for identification, not other unrelated things without a separate legal basis.
But there are exceptions for government, right? National security, crime detection.
Yes, Sections 60 and 61 provide exemptions for things like national security, crime, taxation. These might affect how they collect data or the need for direct collection in certain law enforcement contexts. But the core principle of having a specific lawful purpose still applies. Retention, Section 24, needs to align with legal mandates for public records, balancing public interest with privacy.
E-commerce platforms, online retailers, they collect browsing history, purchase data, preferences, addresses.
For them, consent, Section 21, is often the key legal basis. Getting informed consent for specific purposes like personalizing recommendations, processing orders, or managing loyalty programs.
And minimality, Section 19.
Crucial. Do they really need to track every single click, or is purchase history and maybe stated preferences enough for good recommendations? Retention, Section 24 of purchase history, is justifiable for order tracking, warranties, returns, legal records, but they shouldn't keep it indefinitely once those purposes expire unless they have ongoing consent or another legal basis.
And promotional emails based on past purchases.
That's direct marketing. Needs prior written consent under Section 40. No question.
Healthcare institutions, they handle patient health records. That sounds sensitive.
Extremely. Health data is specifically defined as special personal data under Section 96, and its processing is governed by the stricter rules in Section 37.
So higher bar.
Much higher. Processing health data generally needs explicit consent or must be demonstrably necessary for specific reasons outlined in Section 37(2).
Like for actual medical treatment.
Exactly. Section 37(6)(e) specifically allows processing for medical purposes if done by a health professional under a duty of confidentiality. That provides a strong justification. Minimality, Section 19, means only accessing the health data relevant for the patient's specific diagnosis, treatment, or maybe necessary admin like billing. Retention, Section 24, is usually governed by specific medical record laws, and confidentiality, Section 85, is paramount.
Financial institutions.
Yeah.
Banks.
Yeah.
Insurance companies.
Yeah.
Handling financial data, linking to credit bureaus.
Strict lawfulness, Section 18, and robust security, Section 28, under the Security Principle 17G, are non-negotiable. Minimality, Section 19, means collecting only what's needed for the financial service, credit assessment, fraud prevention, or regulatory compliance like KYC rules.
Consent.
Needed for new services or sharing data beyond the core purpose. But often the basis is necessity for the contract, opening the account, or meeting legal duties, Section 1. Retention, Section 24, is heavily dictated by financial regulations, often requiring records be kept for many years.
Media agencies.
Yeah.
Journalism, they have exemptions, right?
Yes. Section 64 provides an exemption for processing data for journalistic, literary, or artistic purposes, especially if it's in the public interest. However, and this is key, Section 64(2) says this exemption doesn't excuse them from complying with core principles like lawfulness, minimality, quality of information, Section 26, and security, Section 28.
So they can do journalism, but they still have to get data lawfully, only take what's necessary for the story, aim for accuracy, and keep it secure.
Exactly. The exemption is for the purpose, not a free pass on responsible data handling.
Lastly, universities. Lots of student data applications, grades, health info sometimes.
Section 62 gives some exemptions for education records. But again, core principles generally apply. Purpose, Section 22, must be clear admission, education delivery, assessment, administration. Minimality, Section 19, is key. Don't collect excessive personal details beyond what's needed.
What about retention of student records?
Section 24 applies. Needs to align with administrative needs, like issuing transcripts later, and legal requirements. Sections 72 and 73 have specific exemptions for exam marks and scripts, suggesting different rules there, maybe for academic integrity. Lawfulness, Section 18, comes from their function as an educational institution.
Okay, this really brings it home. Connecting this back to you, the business analytics student listening, every single piece of data you touch, every data set you request, every feature you engineer for a model, every report you create using personal data, you have to think about these principles.
Are you processing lawfully? Is the data minimal for your specific analytical goal? For example, if you're building that customer segmentation model, are you using only the data truly necessary for segmentation or just pulling in everything available?
Do you have the right consent or another legal basis to use that data in that specific way? And how long should you keep this data after the analysis is done or the project ends?
Understanding these principles isn't just about ticking a legal box. It's the absolute foundation of ethical, responsible, and sustainable data practice. It directly impacts your technical choices, data collection methods, database design, feature selection, pipeline architecture. It has to be baked in.
That makes it very concrete. These aren't just abstract legal ideas. They have real practical implications for designing and running analytics projects. Okay, so we understand the principles governing how data should be handled. But who exactly has these obligations? Who is bound by these rules?
The Act primarily regulates data controllers. We touched on this, but Section 96 defines a data controller as a person could be an individual or an organization who, alone or with others, determines the purposes for and the manner in which personal data is processed or will be processed.
Well, the entity making the key decisions about the why and how of data handling.
Exactly. They're the ones the Act imposes most obligations on. And a critical obligation for most data controllers operating in Ghana is registration with the Commission. We mentioned this earlier, Section 27.1, Section 46.3, make it mandatory.
Not optional. And Section 53 explicitly prohibits processing personal data without being registered.
And Section 56 adds teeth. Failure to register is an offense. It carries significant penalties, up to 250 penalty units or 2 years imprisonment or both.
Penalty units, how much is that roughly?
Well, the value can change, but as of early 2023, one penalty unit was 12 Ghana cedis. So 250 units would be GHS 3,000.
Okay, maybe not huge for a large company, but...
Yeah. But combine that with the potential for 2 years imprisonment for the people responsible. It shows failure to register is taken very seriously. It's not just a minor administrative oversight.
Point taken. So registration is crucial. What does the application process actually involve? What information do you need to give the Commission?
Section 47 details this, and it's pretty comprehensive. They need to understand what you're doing with data. You need to provide your business name and address.
That's standard stuff.
Right. And if you're an external company not incorporated in Ghana, you need the name and address of your representative here in Ghana.
Okay. What about the data itself?
You have to describe the personal data you plan to process and the categories of data subjects, customers, employees, students, patients, whoever, Section 47(1)(c).
And you have to flag sensitive data.
Yes. Critically, you must state whether you hold or are likely to hold special personal data, Section 47(1)(d). This immediately signals higher risk to the Commission. You also have to clearly state the specific purpose for processing, Section 47(1)(e), tying back to that principle.
Transparency seems key, too. You mentioned sharing.
Yes, you need to identify who you intend to disclose the data to, the recipients or types of recipients, Section 47(1)(f). Also, which countries you might transfer data to, if any, Section 47(1)(g), and the class or names of people whose data you hold, Section 47(1).
Okay.
Section 47(1)(pi) requires a general description of the security measures you'll take. Plus, the Commission can ask for any other relevant info they need, Section 47(1)(j).
And lying on the application is a bad idea.
Very bad. Section 47(2) makes knowingly supplying false or misleading information an offense itself. Penalties up to 150 penalty units, GHS 1800, or 1 year imprisonment, or both. Accuracy is vital.
What if a company processes data for lots of different reasons?
Section 47(3) says if a controller processes data for multiple distinct purposes, the Commission might make separate entries in the register for each one. Helps clarity.
So you submit this detailed application. Is registration automatic if the form is filled out correctly?
Not necessarily. Section 48(1) gives the Commission grounds to refuse registration. For example, if the details provided are insufficient for them to judge compliance.
Or if the safeguards aren't good enough.
Right, if appropriate safeguards for privacy haven't been provided, Section 48(1)(b). Or, interestingly, if, in the Commission's opinion, the applicant doesn't merit registration, Section 48(1)(c).
Doesn't merit registration. That sounds quite discretionary. What might that cover? Past bad behavior, risky processing plans.
It seems to allow the Commission to look beyond just the paperwork, maybe consider the applicant's track record, the nature of the proposed processing, potential risks. If they refuse, Section 48(2) says they must inform the applicant in writing within 14 days, giving reasons.
Is there an appeal process?
Yes, Section 48(2)(b). The applicant can seek judicial review at the High Court. So the Commission's decision can be challenged. And a refusal doesn't stop you from reapplying later, maybe after fixing the issues, Section 48.3.
If the commission is happy, what happens?
Section 49.1 says they register the applicant and provide a certificate once a prescribed fee is paid, Section 49.2. That certificate is your proof.
And it lasts forever.
No, Section 50 requires renewal every 2 years, keeps the register updated, and likely involves another fee.
Can registration be canceled?
Yes. The commission can remove a name at the person's request, Section 51, maybe if they stop processing data. Or they can cancel registration for good cause, Section 52.
And good cause means?
The definition in Section 96 clarifies failing to comply with the data protection principles or failing to comply with commission notices or orders. So ongoing noncompliance after registration can get you kicked off the register, making your processing illegal.
Okay, this whole registration process is clearly central. It links to the commission's duty to maintain that data protection register, Section 46. Understanding how to get on it, what's required, the commission's role as gatekeepers, and the serious consequences of not being on it. That's vital for any organization handling personal data in Ghana.
Absolutely. For BA students, it's about understanding the legal framework your future employer must operate within.
You mentioned something called accessible processing, Section 57. What's that?
Right. This is a category of processing specified by the minister via an executive instrument that's considered particularly high risk. Processing likely to cause substantial damage or distress or significantly prejudice privacy rights.
So, things needing extra scrutiny.
Exactly. When a controller applies for registration, the commission checks if their planned activities include this accessible processing, Section 572. If yes, they do a specific assessment on whether that processing complies with the Act.
And you can't just start doing it.
Generally, no. Section 57.5 says you usually can't carry out accessible processing until the commission notifies you it's likely compliant, or a set period passes, initially 28 days, extendable, without them objecting.
And doing it without approval is an offense.
Yes, Section 57. So high-risk activities get reviewed up front before they can begin.
One more thing on this section. Section 58 mentions appointing a data protection supervisor.
Yes, controllers may appoint one. It's optional for most. This person acts like an internal monitor or auditor for data protection compliance. They can be an employee, Section 58.5, but need to meet commission criteria for qualifications, Section 58.6.7. It can be a very useful role, especially for larger organizations.
Okay, so registration creates transparency via the public register, helps the commission monitor activities, flags high-risk processing for upfront review, and enforces accountability through penalties.
That sums it up well. It's the operational mechanism making controllers visible and accountable under the Act.
Right. We've covered the obligations on data controllers, the who and what they must do. But a huge part of data protection is empowering individuals, the data subjects, the people whose data it is. Section 96 defines them as the individual subject of the personal data. The Act gives them significant rights.
Absolutely. Sections 35 through 44 lay these out comprehensively. And Section 34 makes it clear these rights are in addition to any other information rights people have under other Ghanaian laws. They really give individuals agency over their data.
What's the most fundamental right? Is it accessing your own data?
That's often the starting point. The right of access to personal data in Section 35 is key. It allows a data subject to make a written request to a data controller.
And what must the controller do?
Several things, according to Section 35.1. First, they have to confirm if they are processing your personal data at all, or if someone else is doing it for them. Just a simple yes/no.
Step 1, do you even have my data?
Exactly. Then, if they do have it, they must give you a description of the data they hold about you, explain the purpose they're processing it for, and identify the recipients or types of recipients they might share it with.
So what data, why, and who sees it?
Yes, and crucially, they must communicate the personal data itself to you in an intelligible form, something you can actually understand, not just database codes, Section 35.1. And they have to tell you the source of the data if they know it, Section 35.1c2.
Now, here's a really interesting one, especially for analytics and AI. What if a decision significantly affecting me was made solely by an automated system?
Section 35.1d addresses that. The controller must inform you of the logic or rationale behind that automated decision.
Wow. So I can ask why the algorithm decided what it did about my loan application or insurance quote?
That's the intent. It's a powerful right for transparency in automated decision-making. However, there's a caveat in Section 35.2. This specific right doesn't apply if revealing the logic would expose a trade secret. So there's a balance with business confidentiality.
How do you make this access request?
You usually need to provide proof of identity, sections 32.1353, so they give the data to the right person. You might have to pay a prescribed fee, section 32.2, and the request should be reasonable in terms of time, manner, and format, section 32.2.
What if my data is mixed up with someone else's? Like my record mentions a family member. Can they refuse access because of that?
Section 35.4 deals with this. They generally shouldn't comply if it means disclosing identifiable data about another individual, unless that other person consents, or it's reasonable in all circumstances to comply without their consent.
Reasonable. How do they decide that?
Section 35.8 gives factors. Any duty of confidentiality owed to the other person, efforts made to get their consent, their capacity to consent, and if they expressly refused, it's a balancing act.
But they can't just refuse my whole request because someone else is mentioned. They still have to give me my data.
Absolutely not. Section 35.6 says they must provide the information about you that can be communicated without revealing the other person's identity, maybe by redacting names or other identifiers. Section 35.7. The goal is your access while protecting others.
How quickly do they have to respond?
Section 35.10 sets a firm deadline within 40 days of receiving the request. If they miss this or refuse improperly, the commission can order them to comply. Section 35.11.
And you should get a copy you can keep.
Yes, the info should be supplied in a permanent copy form if you ask. Section 35.12. And controllers don't have to deal with identical requests too frequently. Section 3538-14 allows for a reasonable interval based on the data's nature and how often it changes, prevents harassment.
Are there special rules for credit bureaus? Section 36.
Yes, building on the Credit Reporting Act. Access requests might be limited to data from the past 12 months unless you ask for more, Section 36.2. You generally can't get data held beyond the Credit Reporting Act's retention period, Section 36.3, and bureaus must give you a statement of your rights under both acts, Section 36.4.
Okay, access is key. What other rights do individuals have? Can I stop a company from processing my data?
Yes, the right to prevent processing in Section 39. You can notify a controller in writing any time to stop or not start processing your data for a specific purpose or in a specific way if that processing causes or is likely to cause unwarranted substantial damage or distress to you.
Unwarranted substantial damage or distress, that sounds like a high bar, not just minor annoyance.
It suggests a significant negative impact is needed. The controller has 21 days to respond, saying if they'll comply or giving reasons why not. Maybe the processing is legally required, Section 39.2. If they refuse wrongly, the commission can step in, Section 39.3.
What about stopping junk mail or spam calls, direct marketing?
There's a specific, very strong right for that in Section 40. The right to prevent processing for direct marketing. First, controllers need your prior written consent to even use your data for direct marketing, Section 41.
Prior written consent, that's quite specific.
It is, and even if you gave consent previously, Section 42 gives you the absolute right at any time to notify them in writing to stop processing your data for direct marketing purposes.
And they have to stop.
Yes. Failure to comply can lead to a commission order, Section 43. Direct marketing is defined broadly in Section 40, any advertising or marketing material sent to specific individuals by any means. For BA students doing customer segmentation for marketing, this section is vital. You need that prior consent and a system to handle opt-outs immediately.
We touched on automated decisions earlier with access. Section 41 gives more rights in relation to automated decision-taking.
Yes, you have the right to require a controller to ensure that decisions significantly affecting you, think, jobs, credit, insurance, are not based solely on automated processing, Section 41.1.
So you can demand a human look at it.
Essentially, yes, for those crucial decisions. If such a decision is made solely automatically, Section 412 says they must notify you, and you then have 21 days to require them to reconsider the decision. They must respond within another 21 days, Section 41.3.
Are there exceptions?
Yes, if the automated decision is necessary for a contract with you or required by law, Section 41.3. But for many important algorithm-driven decisions, this right provides a human check. Again, the commission can order compliance, Section 41.5.
What about data held in old filing cabinets? Manual data, Section 42.
Good point. You have rights even for exempt manual data, data in physical files not easily searchable. Section 42.1 lets you require a controller to rectify, block, restrict processing, erase, or destroy inaccurate or incomplete manual data, or data held incompatibly with their legitimate purposes.
Same principle, different format.
Exactly. Your notice needs reasons, Section 42, and the commission can enforce it, Section 42.3. The principles cover personal data regardless of format.
And if a company breaks these rules and I suffer because of it?
Section 43(1) says you are entitled to compensation from the data controller for any damage or distress caused by their violation of the Act. It provides a legal remedy.
Is there a defense for the company?
Yes, Section 432. It's a defense if they can prove they took reasonable care in all the circumstances to comply with the Act. This really highlights why having good policies, procedures, training, and security is so important it can be a legal defense.
Finally, can the commission itself order data to be fixed or deleted?
Yes, Section 441. If they investigate a complaint and find data is inaccurate, they can order the controller to rectify, block, erase, or destroy it.
Even if the data is technically accurate but misleading?
Yes, Section 4423 covers that. If data needs supplementing with true facts to avoid being misleading, the commission can order that too, like adding context to an accurate but incomplete record.
And if data gets corrected, do others who receive the wrong info get told?
Section 4 to 5 says the controller may be required to notify third parties who receive the inaccurate data if it's reasonably practicable. Helps correct the record more widely.
Thinking about all these rights access, stopping processing, challenging automated decisions, getting compensation, ensuring accuracy, they're powerful tools for individuals.
You really are.
And for you, the future business analytics professionals, you have to think about building systems that enable these rights. Can your analytics platform, your database, your pipelines easily confirm if you hold data on someone? Can it generate an intelligible copy for them?
Can your systems effectively action a deletion request or a marketing opt-out while still meeting other legal needs like audit trails? Can you actually explain in simple terms how your algorithm made a significant decision about someone?
These rights impose real technical and operational requirements. Building privacy by design and privacy by default into your analytics infrastructure isn't just good practice. It's necessary to comply with these rights.
Absolutely. It's about operationalizing the law within your tech stack and processes. Understanding these rights is fundamental to building compliant and trustworthy systems.
Okay, let's shift to a particularly sensitive area. The Act recognizes some types of personal data need even greater protection because misusing them could cause serious harm or discrimination. Special personal data.
Yes, defined in Section 96. And Section 37(1) lays down the general rule. Processing this type of data is prohibited unless specific conditions are met.
Prohibited. That's strong. What categories fall under this special classification?
Section 96, referenced by Section 37(1), lists data relating to a child under parental control recognizing minors' vulnerability, religious or philosophical beliefs, ethnic origin or race, trade union membership, political opinions, health, which is defined broadly to include physical, medical, mental health, DNA, genetic data.
Very broad health definition.
Yes. Also, sexual life or sexual orientation.
Yeah.
And data about the commission or alleged commission of an offense or related criminal proceedings or sentences.
That covers a lot of highly personal, potentially sensitive, and often grounds for discrimination historically. So processing this is banned unless,
according to Section 37(2), the processing is necessary or the data subject gives explicit consent. Consent for special data needs to be even clearer and more informed than for regular personal data.
necessary seems to be a recurring theme as a justification. Does the Act give examples of what's considered necessary for special data?
Yes, Section 37(3)(6) provide examples. For an employer, it might be necessary to process health data to manage legally required sick leave or occupational health duties, Section 37(3).
Okay, employment law context.
It might be necessary to protect the person's vital interests if they can't consent, like emergency medical treatment for someone unconscious, Section 37(4).
Nonprofits, political parties, unions, religious groups.
Section 37(5) allows them to process relevant special data about their members or regular contacts if it's for their legitimate activities, and they don't disclose it to third parties without consent. Lets them function internally but restricts external sharing.
What about legal or medical fields? They often handle this type of data.
Crucial exceptions there. Processing special data is considered necessary for legal proceedings, getting legal advice, establishing or defending legal rights, or administering justice. Section 37(6) AD allows lawyers to handle relevant sensitive data for cases.
And medical.
Section 37(6) is key. Processing for medical purposes is presumed necessary if done by a health professional under a duty of confidentiality. And Section 37(7) defines medical purposes very broadly: preventative medicine, diagnosis, research, care, treatment, healthcare management. This is the core basis for healthcare providers.
Are there rules specifically about race or ethnic data?
Yes, Section 37(8). Processing data on race or ethnic origin is only allowed if it's necessary to identify and eliminate discriminatory practices and requires appropriate safeguards. Section 37.9 lets the minister prescribe more safeguards. It's carefully controlled.
And Section 38 gives a specific exemption for religious or philosophical beliefs.
Right, allowing religious or spiritual organizations to process relevant data for their members or employees if needed for their aims. But even then, individuals can still ask how their data is being processed, Section 382.
For our business analytics students, understanding this category of special personal data is absolutely critical, especially if you end up in healthcare, finance may be dealing with criminal history checks or politically exposed persons lists.
Or insurance handling health data, HR dealing with ethnicity, union status, health, even market research touching on beliefs or ethnicity.
The Act puts a much, much higher bar here. Necessity has to be clearly demonstrated and documented, linked to a specific legal basis like those exceptions. Or you need explicit informed consent under very specific conditions.
You can't process this data just because it seems analytically interesting or might help a model unless you meet these strict legal criteria and have proper safeguards. Building a model predicting health outcomes might be valuable, but the legal basis for using that health data, Section 37 and S6, or explicit consent, and the security must be locked down first.
It adds a major layer of legal and ethical diligence. A much more cautious, justified approach is needed for this type of information.
Definitely. It demands careful consideration.
Okay, we've mentioned it a few times. Let's circle back and look more closely at the Data Protection Register itself, Section 46.
Right. Established by the Act, Section 46.1, maintained by the Commission, Section 46.2, its main purpose is to list the registered data controllers operating in Ghana, Section 46.1. This reinforces why registration under Section 46.3 is so fundamental for most controllers.
So it's basically a public list containing the key info controllers provide when they register.
Exactly. The details from Section 47.1 make up the entries: business identity, representative details, description of data types and subjects, whether special data is processed, the purposes of processing, intended recipients, transfer destinations, and a general description of security measures. And remember, potentially separate entries for different purposes, Section 47.3.
And a key feature is public access, Section 54.
Yes, transparency. The Commission must provide facilities for the public to inspect the register, Section 5431.
So anyone can look it up.
That's the idea. And they must supply certified copies of entries if requested upon payment of a fee, Section 542. This allows individuals, researchers, businesses, checking on partners, anyone interested to see who is registered to process data, what kind, for what purpose, and generally what security they claim to have. It's a public record of accountability.
And it needs to be kept up to date.
Yes, registered controllers have a duty under Section 55 to notify the Commission of any prescribed changes to their registered details within 14 days.
So if they start processing a new type of data or change their purpose,
they need to update the registration details to keep the public register accurate and useful.
And we already established processing data without being on this register is prohibited, Section 53, and an offense, Section 56.
Correct. It really underlines the register's importance. It's not just a list, it's a mandatory requirement for lawful data processing by most entities in Ghana.
That concept of accessible processing, the high-risk stuff, Section 57, is also linked to registration right, because the Commission reviews it during the application.
Exactly. Section 572 links them. The registration process helps flag these activities for necessary upfront assessment.
So for business analytics professionals, the register is a practical tool. You can use it to potentially identify registered controllers you work with or for, understand the stated scope of their data activities, and see the level of transparency the Act demands. Being listed signifies a basic level of compliance.
It's a central piece of the whole enforcement puzzle and a public signal of who has met the basic registration requirement.
Wow, okay. We have really covered a huge amount of ground in this deep dive into Ghana's Data Protection Act, 2012.
We certainly have. We started with the basic structure of the Act, creating the Commission, defining its purpose, its functions, how it's administered with the executive director and the board, its funding, the whole institutional setup.
Then we dove deep into those fundamental principles: lawfulness, minimality, consent and objection, the rules around collection, and crucially, data retention and destruction obligations. We tried to bring those alive with examples across different sectors, from M&Os and government to healthcare, finance, and universities, highlighting the direct impact on your work as BA students.
We walked through the critical process of registering as a data controller, the detailed information needed, the Commission's gatekeeper role and power to refuse, the need for renewal, and the possibility of cancellation for good cause. We also clarified the penalties involved.
And importantly, we examine the powerful rights the Act gives to individuals, the data subjects. The right to access their data, including understanding automated decision logic, the rules around third-party data and access requests, the ability to prevent processing, especially for direct marketing or if it causes distress.
The rights around automated decisions demanding reconsideration, rights even for manual data, the right to compensation if harmed by violations, and the reasonable care defense, plus the Commission's power to order corrections or deletions. We stressed how building systems to enable these rights is crucial for data professionals.
We also spent time on the very stringent rules for handling special personal data, defining what falls into that category from children's data to health and criminal records, and outlining the limited conditions like clear necessity or explicit consent under which processing is allowed. That higher bar is so important to understand.
And finally, we highlighted the Data Protection Register itself, its role as a central public record, its contents, public accessibility, the duty to keep it updated, and how being registered is fundamental to lawful processing.
This act really is a cornerstone for Ghana's digital economy and all the data-driven initiatives happening. For those of you in business analytics, seriously, understanding this legislation isn't just about ticking a compliance box, though ignoring it has real consequences.
It's fundamentally about building trust with the people whose data you're using. It's about mitigating significant operational and legal risks, and it's about operating ethically and sustainably as data becomes more and more central to business.
It directly shapes what data you can collect, how you can use it in your models and analysis, the security you must implement, and the serious responsibilities you have towards individuals throughout the entire data lifecycle.
Integrating these legal requirements into your technical methods, into your project designs right from the start, that's what makes you a responsible and effective data professional in Ghana.
Okay, let's leave you with a final thought to chew on, especially as you look towards the future of business analytics. We've been discussing an act from 2012. Since then, analytics techniques have exploded: machine learning, AI, predictive modeling, now generative AI. The volume and variety of data have grown exponentially.
So the question is, how can the principles and requirements laid out in this 2012 Act continue to provide effective protection for people's privacy in the face of these incredibly rapid technological changes?
And what's the ongoing responsibility for data controllers, and for you as future analytics professionals, to interpret and apply these principles like minimality, purpose specification, fairness, effectively and responsibly when you're using these cutting-edge tools? How do you ensure your advanced analytics stay compliant with the spirit, not just the letter, of a law drafted over a decade ago?
That's a really crucial question. It requires ongoing thought, adaptation, and a commitment to ethical practice as the technology evolves. The principles might be timeless, but applying them certainly isn't static.
Indeed. This has been our deep dive into the Ghana Data Protection Act, 2012. We sincerely hope it's given you a much clearer, more detailed, and practical understanding of this vital legal framework for working with data here in Ghana.
Wow, thank you very much. Really interesting. So let's look at it. What have you learned? For the first time, we had this breakdown. Any key things? We have to close soon, so let me hear from you. Any key points you want to? You have read the document, but maybe something became much more, much clearer after you are listening to them, or maybe it got you more confused. Yes, anybody? Anyone? Yes. Sabina.
Yes, Prof. Good evening. So I think it was said during the discussion that the commission's register is supposed to be made public, but I went on their website and I couldn't find anything. I don't know if that is really the case, as in the register to which the data controllers are the register in which they are all captured is supposed to be made public. That way, we the public have access to that, and then we know who has our data and in what context they are using it, but I can't seem to find that on the Commission's website or anywhere. I don't know if it's only available on request or it's just there. You can get on their website.
Okay, that's a good question. I'm not very sure. I think it's supposed to be made available at a particular point in time, not that it's lying there. So then we can say that it's available today for people to come and check. Not that it's continuously available. I didn't get that impression.
Oh, okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
I may be wrong, but I'm just saying I didn't get that impression. The document is quite voluminous because it's a legal document. I'm trying to locate the section that. Okay. Okay, so Commission shall provide facilities to make the information contained in the register available for inspection by, so there can be an inspection window available for inspection by members of the public. Shall provide facilities to make information contained in it available. But there's no time duration in that one.
Okay. Okay, sir.
So it can do it in January and say it has done it for a year.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Yes, please. Yeah, very good question. Is any person?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, go through.
So I want to ask that as a business analyst, are you supposed to know all what the act says about data privacy?
Yes, so ask the bankers, they will tell you. They know this one and the other ones too. They even test them on it.
Yeah, but this one, before you get to the middle, you forgot everything.
The lawyers know these things. You have to know the accent, what it means. So you learn the letter and you learn the spirit. So some of the things you may not remember verbatim, but you may know that you may know the provisions that it gives you. And then I think you should also understand that every time you are taking an activity that will deal with sharing of data, then you can check and see whether you are in good standing. Because all the things are not governed and we go and do it. Then later when somebody sues us, then we are in trouble.
Okay.
Thank you very
But,
much.
Prof, can you make the recording available to us, like what we just listened?
Yeah,
And
I'll do that.
The one you highlighted.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'll do that. Okay, so class, I don't think anybody has anything more to add. So we'll call it a day. It's been a long one. I thank you for engaging, making it a very interesting one. We had so much fun. Esther took us to old school music. So we have enjoyed today. Thank you very much, all of you. I'll share the content as we discuss. We can have it. Okay, too bad. Just before you go, today we are joined by
Prof.
Yes. Hold on.
Sorry, please. Sorry to take you back. The content of what we listen to. So please, so does it mean that if I have not made a personal information public and somebody wants to let's say get some information or my personal details, the person has to go through the rules in the act before the person is supposed to get it?
But why would somebody want your information? Are you a person of concern? Are you a public entity?
That is if I should be a public person or somebody of that sort.
You're a public person, public entity. You are an individual, you're not an entity. Are you birth and death registry? Are you Ministry of Communication?
Okay, so more of the personal things they are talking about is for the institutions, not necessarily a personal information on an individual.
You cannot go and ask of the institution, but the institution can come and ask of you.
Okay.
Because in terms of law, they think you are involved in drug trafficking. They can ask information about you. They can subpoena your medical records. They can subpoena your import and export records. They can subpoena anything to be able to find out or investigate.
But it must be guided by these laws.
Yeah. It's guided by
Okay.
the law. It's guided by the law. But that's why you see that it says that some of the things are not, the law cannot protect it from you from things that have to do with issues concerning criminality. You can't go and hide behind the law in the name of when you're a criminal, you have done something wrong, then you are saying you are calling the law to protect you. Like in America, they are plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. Yeah, you can't plead the fifth, they'll carry you. So he said you can actually request. It was said that in relation to things concerning crime or something like that, you can actually they could actually get that information concerning you. Yeah. I hope that
Okay, sir.
the further processing of data is considered to be compatible with the purpose of collection where the data subject consents to the further processing. 2, the data is publicly available or has been made available by the person. 3, now this is where your issues come. Where further processing is necessary for the prevention, detection, and investigation, prosecution, or punishment of an offense or breach of the law, or for the enforcement of the law, which imposes a punitive, a pecuniary, I can't even pronounce it, a pecuniary penalty. I said pecuniary penalty for the enforcement of the legislation that concerns protection of revenue collection, taxes and stuff, for conduct of proceedings before any court or tribunal that have commenced or are reasonably contemplated for the protection of national security. So if any of these things, they can ask you, they can get it. And further processing of the data is necessary to prevent and mitigate a serious and imminent threat to public safety. So the thing that you are carrying weapons of mass destruction, they will come for you. Or safety, or the life of a data subject or another person, even your own life or somebody else is in danger, they can do well. Or life or health of the data subject or another individual. Or even for historical, statistical, and research purposes, we can ask. So there's quite a lot. That is 25.3. Please, Hannah, have I answered you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, then. So we're joined by Dr. Jonathan Bano, and he's the cybercrime expert I've been talking about. So maybe next time, if there is time, he will give us some overview of how the cyber criminals are working and how they are using data and manipulating data in many different ways and what they are doing about it. Whether they are behind them or they are after them or they are before them, I don't know. He will tell us how far they have come. So thank you very, very much, class. Thank you, Esther. And the master today, we are thanking you plenty. Thank you very much for everything, for what you have done for us. Thank you, class, and see you next week. See you next week. God's will.
Thank you, sir.
You rest I at you. Thank you very much. Some of you are doing thumbs up, but you, what did you do today? Bridget, today I didn't hear you one po. You and Solomon, I didn't even hear your voice. You are clapping for me. Who are you clapping for?
I'm at work, that's fine.
Yeah, at work. Let us hear you at work. Anyway, thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Fro.
Yes, please.